start that.
4:59.
Hear the banjos.
This is one of the reasons why Mike King is my absolute favorite person on the planet.
That's like Hannah. She says some of the craziest stuff. We have a board, so she eventually started.
Okay, it's 5 p.m. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. If you'll please stand and join me for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for this privilege and honor, God, to be able to come and serve the great citizens of Wakulla County. Lord, we just ask that you bless us tonight. Lord, bless us with wisdom as we do the business of the county. I ask, God, that you bless our county, our state, and our nation. Lord, we ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business tonight is the approval of the agenda. I know that Ms. Smith wanted to move item 19 up under awards and presentations, if that's okay with everybody. Is there any other changes?
I'm going to pull item number 20.
Pulling item number 20. Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda is modified.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Next is citizens to be heard. None. There will be a second citizens to be heard at the end of the meeting, and you can also speak under any item that's on the agenda as well by filling out a speaker's card over there, and when the item is heard, you'll be able to speak. Next item is awards and presentations, and Quincy,
Yep.
let you take it over.
Thank you. This is a request for board approval of a proclamation declaring October 24th, 2020 as World Polio Day. The polio virus is a disease that is spread person to person, typically through contaminated water. It can attack the nervous system and in some instances leads to paralysis. Although there is no cure, there is a safe and effective vaccine, one which Rotary and our partners use to immunize over 2.5 billion children worldwide to bring awareness to this tragic disease. It is being requested that Wakulla County recognize October 24th, 2020 as World Polio Day, along with many other nations, states, and counties around the world.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. You want, is there any presentation you'd
I
like to
think
make?
that someone is going to come up and talk about the proclamation and or read it. Probably the president, Megan Smith of Rotary. Oh, nope, Greg.
Tag. We're trying to get Megan to present this and she refuses to. So I'm going to just keep looking back at her. And so just for Randy's sake, I've prepared quite a lengthy history of
I was counting on that, counting on it.
of polio in the history of polio. I think I'm supposed to just read this proclamation. And I think this is last year's proclamation, seriously. And so it actually needs to be updated, thankfully.
Change the date on the fly, Greg. You can do
Not
it.
just that, it mentions that there are 3 countries that still have active polio cases, and my understanding is there are now 2. And when I get to the history part, I'll let you know what those 2 are. So let's read this. Whereas the polio virus is spread person to person, usually through contaminated water, and in some instances leads to paralysis. And whereas although there is no cure, there is a safe and effective vaccine, one which Rotary International contributes to immunizations for over 2.5 billion children worldwide. And whereas polio mainly affects children under 5 years of age, and whereas it has been one of Rotary International's missions to cure polio throughout the world since 1988, and whereas because of these efforts, cases of polio virus have been reduced by 99.9%, with only 3 countries remaining with this epidemic. And whereas Wakulla County recognizes that by supporting World Polio Day, we can make the pain and life-limiting effects of the polio virus a thing of the past. And now therefore, the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim October 24, 2020 as World Polio Day, and call upon all citizens to join in support of these efforts led by Rotary International and the Rotary Club of Wakulla to eradicate the polio virus. Passed and duly adopted in regular session this 19th day of October 2020. thank you for your support of that. Seriously, though, the three countries were a country in Africa, Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. And in 2020, after several years of not having any active cases, Nigeria was removed from the list. And so now there's only Afghanistan and Pakistan. Pakistan has 77 active cases, and Afghanistan has 52. And they won't come off the list until they have at least 1 year of 0 active cases. And so there's still a little bit of work to do. I believe Rotary is going to, we have a check here for $500 that we're pledging to Rotary Foundation, and because of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that money will be tripled. So,
Okay. Would y'all like to come up and
you have anything else to say,
present that
Megan?
check?
Yes, sir, we would.
Okay. Please do. Y'all come up and I don't know how involved you want us to be. We can be behind you, support you, whatever you need us to do. Come up here where we can get a picture of you.
I'm not going to hold it. Megan's going to hold it. She's the president.
Don't trip over the cord.
Randy, stand up. Hi, Randy, get your shoes on.
Tiptoes. Take your heels off. This is the perfect opportunity to wear my shoes. Are we taking them off?
They're always in the way.
Summer.
Okay, we have is that all the presentation?
I want to hear from your president again.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Move approval of consent.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Merritt, seconded by Mr. Thomas to move to approve consent. Any citizen to be heard? Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, next item is your business.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is agenda item number 10. This agenda item requests board approval of the amendment to residential and non-residential solid waste and recycling collection and disposal franchise agreement between Waste Pro and Wakulla County.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 10. Any discussion or citizens to be heard? Any discussions by commissioners? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
We did have a workshop on that issue, so.
Number 11.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, agenda item number 11, request board direction relating to Administrative Regulation 501 regarding the Recreation Department Volunteer Program. Staff met with the state attorney, assistant state attorney, and was advised there is no single definition for violent crime as was requested. Instead, there are numerous criminal chapters in the Florida statutes that he provided to us that is in your agenda item. So in addition, the assistant state attorney recommended to not pursue the revised policy as presented. Given his experience in the area, he did not recommend that the county modify existing, but in the event of that, so we gave, there are some options in this agenda item for that you can pick from, or whichever way you want to go.
Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Chuck, this was your issue. You got a...
Well, I got contacted by a citizen, and I think we should have some type of forgiveness policy. If, this is not something I feel strongly. I was just trying to facilitate a citizen. I'm not sure that this will actually do it, okay? But this is what we could possibly live with, is 30 years with no arrest, period. So
Is that your motion to,
Motion to item 1.
I'll second it.
Okay? Make sure we understand for the public what we're doing here. Heather, can you read us what that is, item 1, what that would entail?
Option 1 is to approve a revised administrative regulation 5.01. What this will do is it keeps the lifetime ban on any sort of sexually based felony. It provides a lifetime ban for any felony that results in the loss of life or where the victim is 18, under the age of 18. For any other felony, it provides that if there are no arrests, no brushes with the law at all, I mean, excepting any sort of speeding ticket, but no arrest for a period of 30 years. After that period of time, they would be eligible to be a volunteer. And then the rest of the policy remains as is.
So this, understand, Chuck, what my understanding is that that one citizen, this still doesn't forgive.
Doesn't
his
forgive that one
situation.
sentence, right.
Okay.
It doesn't resolve his situation?
It does.
No.
Because he's had another brush
Yes.
afterwards?
Mhm.
So, I mean, what's the purpose of this then?
But basically, we've got a system where nobody can get redemption, okay? And I think, after 30 years, if you haven't had that problem, you've earned your redemption from this.
You're regardless of the
Regardless.
individual in
How
question.
long has it been since that gentleman's had a second brush, do we know?
I don't think we know right today.
Because I think when they approached us, that was the case. Hey, it's been 30 years and everything's been clean since then, but,
Well, we didn't have a number in mind. That's how Chuck came up with the
And
30
if that's
years.
the case, if that's right,
if
then
that's
they
true,
would.
then he could say that.
There you go.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Any citizens to be heard? Before we vote, what is our policy now? Reiterate that again, as
So
it stands
your
now.
policy right now is, if I can remember off the top of my head, is any sexually based felony is a lifetime ban. Any violent felony is a lifetime ban. Other felonies, it's 10 years. Misdemeanors, it varies depending on the type, between 7 years and 5 years.
Yeah.
So if somebody makes a dumb mistake when they're 18, 20 years old, depending on what that
Depends
crime
on what
was.
it is.
Okay.
Right now, if it's violence, there's no forgiveness ever.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, all for the motion?
Aye.
No.
Opposed? Aye. So there's 2 of us, it's 3-2. Okay, so the motion carries. All right, next.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this agenda item requests board direction regarding the proposed expansion of 4-H after-school and summer programs. We had a workshop on this. The county or IFAS was not awarded the grant that was proposed for Panacea, so therefore we brought this agenda item including the Panacea after-school program and the summer program at Crawfordville.
Okay. I know that, Dr. Pienta, you're kind of carrying the load of this. You have anything to say about it before we have a motion while you're coming? Do we have a motion?
What was the consensus we got out of the workshop? Refresh my memory.
Was there a
real quick.
consensus?
Well, we were hopeful we were going to get the grant, and then that put us a whole different perspective. But now we don't have the grant. Now we're looking at, this amount that's tallied up here. We got a choice of having just the Panacea after school, or doing both, and this total here.
Summer camp.
Summer camp for Crawfordville, which many of the Panacea folks could come and do. But anyway, that's
I'll
where
go ahead
we're
and
at.
make a motion if I could.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we do the Panacea option, and David seems to think we can get the Crawfordville option, the summer camp, to pay for itself, or pretty much.
We believe it
Or
can,
try
but
it.
not for sure, but that's what our attempt will be.
I think, if we can try it for a year and see, the Panacea is just one part of it, but the summer camp, if we can get that so it funds itself every year, you know, the 80,
And I'm willing to
an
try it.
initial startup fee, I'm willing to try it.
So I'll do the Panacea during the day and the Crawfordville summer camp.
For this total of 80, whatever it is. That's what
On
the
that
county
80,
contribution.
just so the citizens understand, 80,000 does not include the offset that the membership or the fees are going to offset, correct?
Within the 41,000, there is an offset, yes.
So how much?
Craig, there is an offset in the 41,000, right?
Talking about the current year or next year?
The current year.
When it's a full year, because
Full
this
year.
year's a partial year.
That's right.
Full year.
This is Crawfordville, the 41,000.
Yeah, so Crawfordville's 41,000 either way, because it won't start until this summer, so it's going to be a full year in Crawfordville either way. And that 41,000 is the cost of the summer camp. And
That's right, it doesn't. I'm sorry.
we plan on getting 22,000 based on our current estimates, which is somewhat of a swag because we don't have any experience yet.
That's what I was getting at.
22,000 of it is, we believe it will be offset
the
in fees.
out-of-pocket-
Now, David thinks we'll get more, and that very likely may be the case. I tend to be a little more conservative in the estimates.
So the out-of-pocket expense to the taxpayer is going to be 16 roughly, plus 20 roughly, right, $36,000 to have these two programs, at least to try it for a year.
Well, and if you're, Panacea, the after-school program is going to cost 48,000.
Well, it says 16.6 here.
Well, that's why I asked if you're dealing with a full year or the current partial year. A full year is going to be 48,000, and that's, and we think we might be able to recoup maybe 17 or 18,000 of that in fees, so.
All they're committing to is the 16, correct? The partial year.
All this does is commit to the partial year for the after-school program in Panacea and the summer camp this summer
Exactly.
at Crawfordville is all it does.
To see if we can make it work financially for the county.
Then we'll bring it back before you guys sometime during the summer and say, here's where we're, and ladies,
And my
here's where
estimate,
we are.
and my estimation of what the county contribution will need to be to make both of those work is $50,000 in a partial year.
Did you say 15 or 50?
50.
50.
50. Because we also have to hire a permanent part-time program assistant as well to facilitate both of those programs.
So are both going to have user fees, or is this like fundraising revenue that you're?
Both will have user fees on a scaled basis depending on their income. And right now we've got it scaled at full cost is $50 per week for the after-school program, and the summer camp is $175 per week.
So that if everybody paid their full cost, it would break even.
That's correct.
Okay, and so the extra 50,000 you're estimating is when we give subsidies.
It's subsidies to those who are lower
and
income
get lower income.
or some variable thereof.
That, if clubs like Rotary Club steps in, Amy, and Panacea Waterfront steps up, that can be
Men's club.
minimized.
And you could
men's
have
club,
fundraisers and this kind of,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
so,
There'll be a lot of that.
And we have built $5,000 worth of donations. It may be more, but we've built $5,000 worth of outside private donations into this model.
okay.
So we're on page to start this in January if the women's club were finished.
The question. So that point about the women's club being finished, that is the key issue about bringing kids back into that facility.
Okay.
So what we would be looking at to start with is hiring the program assistant in January to train them to onboard. And then as soon as the keys are handed back to us for the Women's Center, we put kids back in there. And I'm hearing March, maybe someone has a different time in mind, and then we start. And then we'll have from March to the beginning of June for the after-school program, and then we'll turn around the next week in June and start summer school in Crawfordville at the community center, which we would run through the first week in August.
So the hire date's going to coordinate with when the women's club is finished.
Right. So
Okay.
we would be looking at the part-time, the hourly help that would be basically teaching assistants because you do have to have ratios for the kids. A program assistant doesn't supervise all those children. So, but a program assistant is your on-site person to help facilitate so that I'm not trying to clone myself. I haven't figured that out yet. So we would have to hire the program staff a little bit ahead of time in order to give them at least a week of training before we put them with kids. And we'll do that for the spring after-school program as well as the summer program.
At best, it's going to be March before we have the Women's Center ready, at best.
And I think, you know, Panacea needs help, nothing against Panacea.
You know, did you get a second? I'm seconding your what you're saying.
Yeah.
But your motion is for options 1 and 2.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That's option number 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
A motion for 1 and 2, which is when they add them together equals 3. So,
Okay.
That's another way to look at it.
All right. Any more discussion? Any citizens?
that's 4-H taught me that.
Okay. So sounds like, I think it's a great idea. I think we're way overdue for doing this. I appreciate.
I appreciate you bringing this up, Mike.
I hope we can, I hope this can be successful in the years to come, and we can see the youth being administered to. But anyway, any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay?
Good job, Sharita.
Thank you, Rachel, for doing that. You did a lot of footwork in this, and we appreciate you.
Thank you to all the commissioners and also the staff who worked on this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you, Cherie and Rhonda.
Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request for board direction regarding the release of 5 1990s era fire assessment liens that are sitting out there on 2 parcels. The property owner recently came to the county. She is attempting to sell one of the parcels, and the liens were uncovered at that
To
time.
approve the release of the liens.
Second.
Okay, we want a motion and a second to release the liens. Citizens to be heard, discussion.
These, just for the
It's amazing.
edification of the public, they're 20 years old, we couldn't collect them anyway, so.
Yeah,
Right. It was making it very difficult for when they was trying to split the property to sell it. They couldn't because the liens existed on the whole property.
Most of these are fines and accruals just back from the 90s. The actual lien was only like $200 or $300.
in 92 to 97, so.
Okay. All right, all for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, next is public hearings.
Yes, the one and only public hearing tonight is a request for the board's approval to conduct the first of 2 public hearings regarding an amendment to the Land Development Code. This amendment would update the definition for boarding houses and include that as a principal use in various commercial and multifamily zoning categories. In September, the board considered this ordinance and requested that staff include a conditional use for this use under the agricultural zoning. That has been redrafted and is being brought back to you for this evening for consideration. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and if there is no additional changes that the board desires to see, the board will see this back at their next meeting on November the 2nd for the final hearing.
Motion to conduct the public hearing and consider the proposed ordinance amending and updating the commercial and residential zoning districts.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any citizens? Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to planning and zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first planning and zoning item is an application for rezoning R 2011. This application requests approval for a change of zoning from RR1 to low-intensity commercial on about 1 acre of land that is located on the east side of Crawfordville Highway between Songbird and Osceola Court. In accordance with Section 24.01 of the code, each commission member needs to disclose any contact you may have received regarding this application.
None?
None.
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 If there is anyone here who's going to provide any information on this application, please stand up to be sworn.
Motion to approve.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the
Second.
truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have a motion to approve, seconded by Mr. S. Okay, any discussion? Any
This is-
citizens to be heard?
This is where we want commercial, so it's should move forward.
Okay? Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Next item, Mr. Chairman, is another application for a change of zoning. This is R 2012. This application requests approval for a change of zoning from Ag to C2 on about 8.5 acres of land located at 158 Council Moore Road. In accordance with Section 24.01 of the code, each commission member needs to disclose any ex parte communications regarding this application.
I had a call from a citizen earlier and a couple of emails.
Same.
And I had a call from a Curtis Adair at 81 Council Moore Road who wanted to lodge against having it rezoned. And then I had a couple of emails as well.
I had that same call and an email from Jennifer Castanera.
I had the same call and the emails in the item and Jennifer Castanet.
Okay?
Okay. If there's anyone here who is going to provide any information to the board regarding this application, please stand up to be sworn. Please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Annette, can you turn your phone off, please?
Okay. Go ahead, Summer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, this request for rezoning is located at 158 Council Moore Road. This is 8.5 acres from agriculture to C2. The future land use designation for this property is urban fringe, and currently the site is developed with 2 single-family dwellings. It is located within the FEMA flood zone designation of X. There is commercial zoning currently existing surrounding this property, and the proposed rezoning is generally compatible and consistent with the character of the area. Staff is recommending option 1 for approval.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Thomas. Okay, citizen to be heard is Deborah Dix Bishop. Let's come up and state your name and your address, please.
Yes. Hi. My name is Debbie Dix Bishop, and I live at 84 Council Moore Road. And I have lived there about a year. I've been in this county 24 years, and was very excited to find Council Moore Road. I didn't know it existed, and it's a piece of paradise, close to my business, and still very secluded and quiet and private. And I want to say that I've heard great things about Mr. Ralph Meadows, who would like to rezone this property, and I know he's a nice man, and I wish him the utmost success. However, this road borders, this 8.5 acres, whatever, it borders my property on one side. It's not really true that it's surrounded by other commercial property. It faces Council Moore Road. Part of that land, the frontage, is owned by the lady across the street. There's nothing on that property there. On the other side, it faces Gulf Coast Lumber, which has access on Crawfordville Highway and not on Council Moore Road. To the back of it, there's some rentals there. So, there's families living there. I went back in there. So really it is not surrounded by commercial. It's a very quiet piece of property, and on this road across the street from this property, there are children. It is very safe. I don't worry about crime. There's not much traffic on that road. There's an abundance of birds and wildlife. It's all forested. You can hear a pin drop when you walk by it. So I'm very much opposed to this piece of property being zoned commercial for the decrease in safety, the killing all that wildlife, taking down all those trees, compromising the safety of children, for increased traffic, for what it might become in the future. Everybody almost on that road has about 5 acres. I went around and met my neighbors for the first time. Most of them are descendants of the people who settled that area in the 1800s. And in fact, the house I live in at 84 is 130 years old, and our current Sheriff Miller, grew up in that house. And that house was built in 1890. It's an amazing house. I was only able to get 12 signatures because I only could do this Sunday, and then I went out of town, but every single person who lives in that neighborhood is opposed to this. And I provided you with the signatures I have, And what I had written that I brought to planning and zoning, and like I said at that time, they were saying that there were 3 sides of this property was commercial, and that is not true at all. Certainly, I don't know what that was supposed to be, because the front of it is on the road and across the street, all residential. The whole neighborhood is residential, with the exception of the medical center at the very end, and people come off the Crawfordville Highway and then leave. They don't come down the road, and then Gulf Coast Lumber on the other side, the side of it. Across from that road is all forested ag property. And so the residents that are around here, they don't want that neighborhood to change. It's amazing. And so I tried to take the initiative to go around and see how people felt about this. And as I said, everybody I spoke to is really opposed to this rezoning. And also we're all afraid in the future that maybe if Mr. Meadows just does something simple like put more storage units on it for now, in the future it might end up being congested housing. You know, like I said, everybody has at least 5 acres. Some people have 40 acres now. It's beautiful. It's a piece of paradise. So I'm coming before you, and I thank you very much for considering this. And as I said, I wish nothing bad to Mr. Meadows. I've heard that he's a fantastic man. Everybody tells me that. I've only met him briefly. And I wish him success, but I just wish that he could expand his business somewhere other than this peaceful, safe paradise of the road with all these critters. I mean, birds and bunnies and armadillo and possum and deer and bear. And, you know, this is a big piece of property, and I've seen all that.
Thank you. Your time's up.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you for listening to me.
Mr. Ralph Meadows?
Thank you all for the opportunity tonight to speak with you. I just want to go to that petition she's talking about. She has Don Douglas Sykes and Bonnie Sykes sold me the property, and when they sold it to her, you won't have any problem getting it rezoned, and now they done signed the petition against me, you know, so. But anyway, what we're going to do with the property, there won't be any more trees taken down. These people wouldn't even know I was doing what I was doing if I didn't have to come before to send out letters. And the property next to it is commercial. I own that property. The property across the street is 50 acres vacant land. Right down, a few feet down the road from my property is Gulf Coast Lumber. On the north end of the road is, you got Spear Small Engine, you got Gator Track. They back up that road. You got the medical center on Councilmore Road. So what I'm wanting to do with the Councilmore Road is not going to affect any of the neighborhood. I don't know what to say. I don't think it'll affect the residential, and it's not going to affect the wildlife because, like I say, we're not going to take any more trees down. It's like it's going to be. We just...
I think you would probably put their concerns to bed if you basically said you're not going to put a back entrance into your property there.
Well, I told them that last week, that I'm still going to use Crawfordville Highway as my entrance and exit.
And doesn't he have to put between commercial and residential, he has to put a barrier?
There are buffers required under the landscape ordinance,
so,
yes, sir.
You know,
Yeah,
you should get a lot of protection.
I can't just go in there and start doing stuff. I got to hire an engineer. I got to get it approved. And
I just wanted to make sure you're agreeing here to not put an entrance on that back road, because if you lived on that back road and you put a commercial entrance there, that would be
well, I
difficult
could
for
do
those
it,
folks.
but I'm planning on using 319 just like it is now for the. See, I've got Crawfordville self-storage on the main road. I'm just expanding it back in there.
There's a driveway off of Councilmore now, though,
Yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Because there's a house there. There's a driveway through here now.
He's just saying not use it as a commercial entrance.
I'm not, you might pull a car in there on occasion, but as long as it's not a commercial entrance into this facility.
We can't mandate that now,
I
but we
know.
can certainly ask.
We can ask him to, and if he commits to it, then we can, you
Yeah,
know.
we're still planning on using 319 as in Crawfordville Highway as that entrance and exit.
He's got to still come back with a site plan.
Right.
This is just the
Yeah, I'll have
rezoning.
to get an engineer to draw it up and get it approved. But
But it is where, you know, it's inside the town plan, it's where we want to have commercial development, so.
Summer, could you please read the standard of review, just so everybody understands that that's listening? This is the standard we have to follow when reviewing.
When considering an application for rezoning, the burden is initially on the applicant to establish that the proposed rezoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and complies with all applicable procedural requirements in the Land Development Code. Thereafter, to deny a proposed rezoning, the burden shifts to the county to present competent substantial evidence on the record demonstrating that maintaining the existing zoning classification accomplishes a legitimate public purpose and is not arbitrary, discriminatory, or unreasonable. Competent substantial evidence consists of relevant fact-based evidence that a reasonable person would find to support a particular conclusion.
And is this rezoning consistent with the comp plan?
Yes.
Does it comply with all applicable procedural requirements in the Land Development Code?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And so to kind of boil that down, we're not supposed to make a decision based on our opinion, our personal preference, and even, no disrespect, a petition. We're not supposed to make a decision based on a petition, and we're here to serve the public. We recognize that, so we're constantly in this challenge of trying to make the public happy, but realizing that we also have to follow the law. And so if there's any competent substantial evidence that the applicant has not met the requirements, that's the time. We need to hear that, and we need that to make a decision, because if we just make a decision based on opinions or petitions, then we're going to potentially answer for that at some point down the road.
Lawsuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is an application for a change of zoning R 2013. This application requests approval for a change of zoning from Ag to PUD on 33-plus acres of land. The property is located generally on Wakulla Aaron Road, west of the intersection with Old Bethel Road. In accordance with Section 24.01 of the Code, now is the time to disclose any ex parte communications.
I may have had an email, but we've been to all commissioners.
No.
None.
I had two, Tanya Daniels and Patricia Candler in opposition.
Yes, me too.
I had the same two emails.
All two? Yeah.
They're all two.
Probably all commissioners.
It went to all.
Okay.
I have it right here. You want it?
If there is anyone here who is going to provide any information to the board regarding this application, please stand up to be sworn. Please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
This request for rezoning is from agriculture to PUD. As Heather mentioned, it's a 33-acre parcel located on the south side of Wakulla Aaron Road, just west of the intersection with Old Bethel Road. This parcel lies immediately west of the recently approved Palmetto Phase 1 subdivision. If approved, this PUD would allow for 66 single-family detached dwelling units. There will be on-site stormwater retention, recreation and open space areas, as well as sidewalks and centralized mailing kiosks. This new subdivision will have an internal road network which would connect directly to Palmetto Phase 1 to the east, so no new roadways would be creating access off of Wakulla Aaron Road. The property is in FEMA flood zone designation of X, and the proposed zoning is consistent with the Crawfordville Town Plan and the Land Development Code.
Motion
Staff
to
is
approve.
recommending option 1 for approval.
Option 1.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Here, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Thomas. We have, is it Billy Colbert? To answer any questions?
I have a
Okay.
question for Summer, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Summer, I know the standard of approval for rezoning, but is that applicable to PUDs? Because they can vary so wildly. I mean, are we still compelled to approve a PUD zoning request?
If it checks all the boxes, if it meets all the requirements in the Land Development Code, if it's consistent with the comp plan's policies, then the same burden of proof exists.
Because PUD could combine commercial with residential, and it's not just really,
And there's different
It's really a-
standards for those mixed-use PUDs than just a single-family
so
residential.
same standard of review, even though it's a PUD zone,
Correct,
which is plan unit development zone.
correct.
You said it was consistent with the town plan. This is inside the town plan?
No, it's consistent with the comp plan.
I think
Did I,
you said
did
town
I
plan.
say
Oh,
town
you
plan?
said
I
town plan.
apologize. My mistake. I didn't mean town plan, the comp plan and the
I don't
land
think it's
development
consistent
code.
with the town plan. I think, you know, we've got too much development coming in here too quickly, and we need to see the effect of what we've already approved in this area before we move forward.
How close is this property to the border of the town plan?
It's right on the east side boundary line. I mean, this is immediately adjacent to the town plan. The parcel immediately west of this is within the town plan.
What's the future land use on the parcel immediately west of it?
Urban fringe as well.
Okay. Any more discussion? Any questions for the applicant? I'm going to vote against it for the same reason I voted before against this. There's too much going on in one place until we see what the outcome is of the already high density going in there. So anyway, that's why I'm voting against it.
Yeah, he's already got two major developments, and we've already approved the one adjacent to it because it's already in the comp plan. We're going to have, this could be problems down the road. We need to take a look and see what happens.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-2. All right. Now we're to commissioner agenda items.
I've got one more, Mr. Chairman.
Sorry.
That's okay. This is a request for the board's approval to conduct the final public hearing and consider adoption of a large-scale comprehensive plan map amendment. This is CP 2002 for Golden Construction Company. This request was considered by the board back in August for transmittal to the state. This is a 14.35 acre parcel located in the southwest corner of the intersection of MLK and Alexander Road. This request is to go from urban fringe to suburban transitioning, which would allow 5 units per acre for a total of up to 71 lots if approved.
Motion to approve. This is an adoption phase, right?
This is an adoption phase, yes, sir.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. I know Mr. Miller's here for questions if we have for him, the applicant.
Crash?
Any more discussion by the commissioners?
Well, you know, this is inside the town plan, correct?
Correct.
So this is down below, you know, the lower half of Crawfordville, so the traffic will come through Crawfordville and enhance our business activity in Crawfordville. So this is all the kind of development that we want, so.
The only issue I have with this, David, I don't know where we address it, is that intersection of Alexander and what are
MLK.
not MLK. Page Posey, thank you. The roads are kind of offset. I travel that weekly, at least. It's got to be fixed. So
I'd like to do that same time we realign Alexander.
anyway, I'm fine with the development. I think it'd be a good development, but I think it's going to be a lot of traffic, and that's where they're going to mostly be crossing MLK is right there. So
We have to fix that intersection and the one up at Wakulla Aaron.
yeah.
And we're doing the roundabout at Lonnie Raker on that same road, same corridor.
Okay. Any more discussion? All for the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Good job, Robbie. You can fix your buggy now.
Okay, now we move on to Commissioner agenda items. And we already have taken care of Commissioner Methersmith, and now Commissioner Hess has pulled item 20. It won't be heard tonight, so we're done there. County Attorney, any items?
Nothing additional tonight.
Okay, County Administrator?
Nothing additional.
And any citizens to be heard? None. Discussion issues by commissioners. We'll start with Mr. Merritt.
At CRTPA today, nothing fantastic happened, but in the cost feasible plan, all phases of 319 actually have a date assigned to them now, at least a year span. So Mike, if you can make it through 20-something,
Come on, give me something.
40 something.
2040.
My
2040, there you
God.
go.
Wait a minute, how old would we be, Chuck, at 2040?
more years. We planned way ahead on CRTPA.
I could make it.
Huh?
I could make it.
You can make it. And if you do, you better do what you said you was going to do in front of the courthouse lawn.
I will, yes, I will do it.
That's all I got.
When I see it, I'll believe it. All right.
I just want to thank everybody up here for voting for the 4-H program. I think it's going to be wonderful, and thank you for bringing it to the table.
Absolutely. I just wanted to say the same thing. We'll go down here to Chuck.
Nothing today.
Mr. Thomas?
Nothing.
Okay, yes, I want to thank the board as well. I think that's a big step
It is.
into helping our young people.
Thank you for bringing it
We
forward,
can do
Mike.
more of it as we go forward, so anyway, I appreciate you guys. I thank the public for being here, and we'll stand adjourned.
Can I see the picture of Quincy standing next to you?
Just get on Facebook, it's already on. Is it?
Do you do